We begin tonight with a challenge by the Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, to youths in the country to pay more attention to how the nation's resources are utilized and ask more questions, fearing that lack of interest from young Nigerians may lead to a dwindling of the country's commonwealth. Professor Osinbajo said the government is investing in infrastructure and job creation to ensure Nigerians do not return to the status quo. He underscores the need to focus on technology and innovation, which is the future of jobs for youths in Nigeria. The Vice President was speaking at a public lecture at the University of Ibadan, Oyo State.
But that future is already here. Our role is to ensure that we deliver the empowerment that makes that possible. And when I say our role, I speak about government, the public sector in particular. To young people, my message is that you must be vigilant and you must hold your leaders to account. You must take time to study the facts, take time to scrutinize the arguments, and take time to question the arguments. The future of the children belongs to you. There's no need for anybody to argue because the future is all about you. But that future can only be guaranteed by your own vigilance and by making sure that those who are entrusted with power use that power only for the benefit of the people of.
Meanwhile, the nation's health sector seems to have received a major boost following the federal government's success in securing a deal worth $660 million from the Global Fund. The money will be used to finance the treatment of infectious diseases, including HIV and AIDS, tuberculosis, and malaria in the next 3 years. The Executive Director of Global Fund, Mr. Peter Sands, says that Nigeria's healthcare sector is attracting a lot of attention because the nation bears a huge burden of infectious diseases.
It is a joint conference involving the Minister of Health, the Director General of the National Agency for the Control of AIDS, NACA, and the representatives of Global Fund. The Director General of NACA leads the discussions, highlighting the role of Global Fund in financing Nigeria's healthcare sector, especially the fight against infectious diseases like HIV and tuberculosis in the last 1 decade.
The Global Fund is responsible for most of the malaria prevention programs in the world. It's also responsible for at least 140,000 Nigerians we currently have on treatment. The Global Fund also funds at least 100,000 Nigerians on TB treatment. Without the Global Fund, Nigeria would have struggled to deliver some of the huge interventions we have put in place for these 3 deadly diseases.
As Executive Director of the Global Fund to fight AIDS, tuberculosis and malaria.
Even though Global Fund has invested over $2 billion into Nigeria's health sector in the past, the fund is committing another $660 million for the treatment of infectious diseases in Nigeria within the next 3 years.
Nigeria is the country in which the Global Fund invests most money in the fight against AIDS, TB and malaria. As the DG said, we have invested significant amounts of money. So far we've invested $2.6 billion. And in the current funding cycle, which is a 3-year cycle, we are investing $660 million.
In his remarks, the Minister of Health expresses government's appreciation to Global Fund, while restating government's commitment towards increasing domestic funding for the sector.
I want to assure the ED that we will also improve domestic resource allocation to HIV, TB and malaria in 2019. Government has demonstrated resolve. In 2019 budget, the basic healthcare provision fund will be retained. That will be the same 55.1 billion in our 2019 budget. Government is also putting 22 billion for vaccines as a commitment to ensuring that every Nigerian child gets vaccinated.
The National Health Act 2014 provides that 1% of consolidated revenue of government should go to universal health coverage. However, 4 years after that law was passed, the provision has not been fully implemented, as the sector still relies heavily on foreign donors.
The security matters now. 32 people have been arrested for their alleged involvement in the violence that have rocked Kaduna State this week. The arrest was confirmed in a statement from the Government House today after a meeting of a select committee of the State Security Council presided over by the Governor Nasir El-Rufai. In the meantime, the council has relaxed the 24-hour curfew in Kachia, the local government area where the traditional ruler Mayawada Galadima, who was killed by kidnappers on Friday, hails from. It says that the decision was taken because the people of Kachia have remained peaceful while mourning the monarch. The government explains, quote, "In recognition of this positive contribution to harmony, the Security Council has directed that the curfew in Kachia be relaxed immediately from Sunday, October 28, 2018. Kachia residents now free to move from 6 a.m. to 5 p.m. daily." Meanwhile, the government is yet to review the 24-hour curfew imposed on the state capital, Kaduna, and its environs, where the security situation is said to have remained critical. Let's get more on the security situation in Kaduna. Joining us on the news at 10 tonight is the Chief Security Officer and Governor of the state, Malam Nasir El-Rufai. He joins us by Skype. Your Excellency, I want to thank you so much indeed for joining us on the news at 10. What is the security situation in Kaduna State as we speak right now?
Well, the security situation in Kaduna is getting better. The metropolis is calm. We went round today. We also went by helicopter to other parts of the state outside the metropolis, and the situation is getting better. We hope to meet tomorrow the Select Committee of the Security Council to review the reports, and we hope that as things get better, we will relax the curfew so that people can get back to their lives.
Now, apart from security measures taken to basically clamp down on potential lawbreakers, what else is being done to reach those in communities or the villages, if you will, to get a sense of their grievance and try to settle them?
The Kaduna State government has already established by law a peace commission which has been operating in the state. Our hope and desire that the Kaduna State Peace Commission, which is chaired by Bishop Ido Ferrum, the Secretary General of the Anglican Communion worldwide, would continue to work on peace building. But the first priority right now is to restore order and ensure that people do not attack or kill each other. To a large extent, we have succeeded in doing that from yesterday. Arrests have been made. We have had several meetings with community leaders, and I continue, along with my team, to engage with religious and traditional leaders to try to ensure that peace is maintained. But peace building is a long process. This state has been rocked by crisis since 1980. The levels of division are very high, and it will take some time to heal all the wounds. But we are doing the best we can, first to restore peace, second, to restore order through prosecution of those involved. And then the third stage will be the continuous process of community engagement, peace building, and promoting our unity and diversity. Kaduna State is blessed as one of the most cosmopolitan states in the country. Our diversity is our strength, and it is important that people understand that and learn to tolerate one another and coexist with one another. And we're working on that by the grace of God.
Your Excellency, it is largely believed that you would have gotten some lead from those arrests that you made to help in your investigations, particularly to find out why Malam Mayawada Galadima was killed. Is that right?
Well, I don't want to comment a lot on the unfortunate death of the Agom Mayawada Galadima, because investigations are going on. The Inspector General of Police has sent a high-powered team to get to the root of the matter, and I would not want to comment on that because we don't want to put the kidnappers and the murderers on notice as to what we're doing. The arrests of people have absolutely nothing to do with the murder of the Agom. It is just a coincidence that he was kidnapped. Are not linked at all. They are two separate but unfortunate events, and the police are investigating that.
What we are trying to do with the arrest that we have made in Kaduna is to look at those that try to take advantage of the unfortunate situation to create panic, to loot shops, and engage in all kinds of criminality. This is not an ethnic or religious crisis. This is a situation in which hoodlums just seize the opportunity to loot shops, because all the crises, if you notice, are around markets. So this is criminality pure and simple, hiding behind a cloak of ethnic and religious differences. We do not believe the two are connected, but the security agencies are intensely investigating this. And by the grace of God, while we mourn the death of of Kachia, we are confident that those responsible will be brought to justice. It's just a matter of time, but I don't want to say more about that.
But also, a major concern has been when are you likely to extend a relaxed curfew to other areas other than Kachia, who is currently enjoying the 6 a.m. to 5 p.m. daily freedom?
Tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock, we intend to have a select committee meeting of the Security Council to receive reports from all the security agencies across all the communities in the state. And based on that information, we will take the decision to relax the curfew or sustain it. We act based on the guidance of the security agencies and the intelligence from communities. But from what I am seeing, Kaduna is calm. We've not had any incident. We've had instances of curfew breaking, but to a large extent there has been compliance. And we believe that we are on our way to getting back initially to 12-hour curfew and ultimately, by the grace of God, back to full normalcy. We apologize to the people of Kaduna State for this inconvenience, and we're doing the best we can to try to make it as easy as possible and as fast as possible.
Because, Your Excellency, the concerns are just so much, especially when it has to do with Kaduna, the city center, as a matter of fact, being a nodal town where a lot of transit people see that as a transit route, if you will, and you're having a curfew at this time. Why Kaduna not having that extension of a relaxation of the curfew?
Yeah, because there are parts of Kaduna that are still tense. There are parts of Kaduna that we are getting intelligence that hoodlums may take advantage. But regarding Kaduna as a transporter, we are conscious of that. 9 states pass through Kaduna just to get to Abuja. And we have a system in place in which all vehicles that are passing through Kaduna are escorted through the Western Bypass as well as the Eastern Bypass. So there is no risk to any vehicles coming from Kano, from Bauchi, from Zaria, from Lagos, or from Abuja. They are allowed thoroughfare. We have made arrangements with the security agencies to escort them such that they are not affected by the curfew. We also have arrangements for vehicles to transport people from the train station at Rigasa as well as the Kaduna International Airport. So the transit through Kaduna has not been disrupted as such, but as I said, we're working around the clock with the security agencies that have been doing a wonderful job, and I want to express our gratitude to the federal government, President Muhammad Buhari, the Minister of Defense, the Chief of Army Staff, the Inspector General of Police, and all the security agencies for being here to work with us to try to restore peace and order.
That's a good place to let it rest. I'm afraid I must have to come in at this point. But I must thank you so much indeed, the Governor of Kaduna State, Malam Nasir El-Rufai, for talking to us here on the News at 10.
Thank you.
In part 2, after the break, the Chief of Army Staff says that the Nigerian Army plans to become self-reliant in the production of combat vehicles by 2025. Please stay with us.